Okay, I am live again. Welcome back to the channel. Deep breath. I saw something today that kind of bothered me that I thought would be nice to just do a stream about this subject. And I don't want anyone to I'm going to be looking at a specific person's account on Instagram, but I don't want people to go over there. If you are watching this, I don't think that's productive. Like, I don't want her to get any negative, traction from my end here because, uh, well, I mean, I just want to look at this, and kind of talk about my reaction to it as I was coming across this account today. It was very alarming to look at this and think about it. I don't know how to get into all of it. So let me get it set up here for us to look at this together. Okay, is that coming up right? Good. All right. So this is the account I found today, and it's called food.peace.nutritionist. And yeah, this is a woman's business profile on Instagram, and it appears that she is a dietitian, body image coach as well, which, is a red flag. There's also pronouns in the bio. So, these are just things that I, judge when I see. They're quick things to judge. When I see people having that, I'm like, okay, that's where you're at. Okay. So, she's into this intuitive eating thing, and then embrace a life of food and body peace. Okay. So this is the post I saw today that bothered me. It really bothered me. There's several images here actually to go through, but this was actually shared by, I think it bothered me too because it was shared by somebody I know. And I found out that a couple of people that I actually, keep up with on Instagram are following this account as well, which worries me because the message in here is really inaccurate, and it worries me because I worry that these women specifically that follow the account are believing things that are not true. So let's continue. Yeah, so this is the opening, but I need to lose weight for my health. This is the first thing I saw, and this really is what set me off because it's not true, and that should be enough. But I guess personally, I don't know what it is about this particular issue, but I'm becoming very frustrated with the fact that this message is so commonly put out there because it's a really destructive message. It's not encouraging at all. This is the kind of message that keeps women from losing weight. This is a message that makes women think that, they don't have a problem, that they are not overeating. This is it right here. And I know so many who have gotten sucked into this belief system, because of this specific message. They do not believe that weight loss is possible. And when you have a dietitian, so-called expert, pushing this message, that's a real problem. You're really you're really doing people a disservice. So yeah, 80 to 95% is a pretty wide error of margin there. So I think I used that word correctly. You see, that's quite a wide gap. And then the message is people who are overweight, quote unquote, live the longest. I'm very curious where these studies are coming from. Excuse me. People in the mild obese category live at least as long as normal weight people. I really, really doubt that is true. And again, I'd want to know where that's coming from. But specifically, the idea that weight loss will just lead to weight regaining and then more is absurd. If you do not lose weight, that is because you failed to continue to go about doing the behaviors that would lead to weight loss. So this is a very destructive message. It does not encourage at all. It makes people fall back into this very comforting belief that they don't have to challenge and overcome their hurdle with food and exercise. Although, again, mostly, like I've said before, it's food. If weight loss doesn't improve health, then what does? Okay, and so then the next message. Intuitive eating this is very upsetting to me because I just think, if I had somebody in my life who was dealing with needing to lose weight, or somebody who had, become obese, that kind of thing, you'd want them to find, and they really did need help. What would happen if they went to someone like this? I just feel like this kind of person exploits people's weakness and exploits their desire to stay in a state that they're in. I mean, intuitive eating, though, I wanted to talk about that specifically because if somebody is overweight or obese, their issue is going to be far greater with intuitive eating. They cannot rely on their intuition. Their intuition about food is messed up. So this is where this kind of thing falls short. And I think intuitive eating as well, it sounds great, but I honestly don't think that it's helpful because you kind of do have to be mindful that you are getting certain things into your diet every day. And if you just kind of go off of what you're craving, which again is a lot of what people do, that leads to serious weight gain. But yeah, I mean, if somebody has a disordered pattern with food, which if they become very fat, they do. I mean, there's no denying that. They do. Telling them to eat intuitively is just, it's going to be so destructive for them because, again, their intuition about food is out of alignment. They need to get very grounded and check in about their relationship with food. And if they can trust themselves, they may not be able to. If you're a food addict, if you are addicted to certain foods, or if you struggle with overeating, or you eat for emotional reasons, you just can't rely on that intuitive eating. It's not going to work. Anyway, yeah, getting enough sleep is great. And, it is part of maintaining healthy weight loss. Yeah, managing stress, of course, coping mechanisms. But you see here, the whole purpose of it is to discourage people from losing weight. Just do these things and everything will work out fine. But as I've said, the first part of it, the intuitive eating, is impossible to do and to stay healthy doing if you have a disordered relationship with food. We talk a lot about eating disorders in terms of vanity and food restriction, but the majority of people who have disordered eating, are in normal and overweight sized bodies. It's a thing that humanity struggles with a lot of the time. So having a proper relationship about food is something that collectively we have a problem with, but there are people who are obese who clearly have greater issues with it and really need much more careful direction than being told to just eat intuitively. That's dangerous for somebody who is overeating. That's just not helpful. So anyway, this is interesting. Self-esteem, my goodness, food variety. All right. This is also another horrible, look at this. Weight loss does not improve health long term. What do they mean by that? Because we all die? Is that what they mean by that? I mean, or what she means by this? Yes, we all have an expiration at some point, but it's wild to me to read this. And this is again a dietitian, people who struggle with their eating, and often people who are overweight who are struggling with their eating go to for advice and counsel. And look at this. It's not going to even improve your health. Healing your relationship with food and learning how to build sustainable habits and behaviors. Well, dude, I just yes, you do need to heal your relationship with food. I concur, but sometimes that means healing your relationship with being an addict of it, and also figuring out that you need to eat less and not overburden your body with consuming food all the time. It's just, oh, oh. And yeah, so here we go. The applications are open to work with her. You have to get an application. Oh, and she specializes in binge eating. Okay, the other thing I wanted to remark on here, because that post obviously upset me, and I'm sorry if there's a lot of background noise. Can anybody watching in the chat just tell me if the background noise is distracting? I feel like it would show up lowly humming, but I don't know. It's kind of being loud to me. But just looking at her, no, she's very thin. She is thin. She is thin. Anyway, I left a comment on that post. I was just very clearly please do not spread this myth that it is impossible to lose weight, or that it's not possible, or that message is so bad, especially for people who are looking at it who need to lose weight. I don't know. It burdens my heart to see this. I feel like when did we get here that this is okay? The thing about her being thin is just she's in a thin body. She's been reaping all the benefits of that, and the thing is, these people who are caught up in the fat liberation thing, they have valid points about the ways that sometimes they are treated. So it makes me wonder, if you don't experience any of the negativity, of this, what is your agenda to keep people stuck in this cycle of fatness? Why are you promoting this idea that people can't lose weight? Maybe she's just she's naturally thin, and she always has been, and she's never had any issues with putting on weight, you know, in her life. I don't know. Like that's I just and so when she comes across these really ridiculous claims that these people make, she takes them on board and thinks, yeah, that's really right. That must be true. Because, you know, her genetics have dealt her a petite frame. And, you know, her life circumstances have been that she's never had to subsist off of. Well, I don't know. I don't want to say that about her. I don't know what her life experiences have been. I don't have any idea. And it sounds like she may have had issues of her own. I mean, who doesn't? Like I said, it's common, but I find it really, really upsetting seeing like these very thin professional women give this kind of advice to fat people, and like fat people are taking it on, and it's you really shouldn't do that. Like you, unless you know what it's like to be in a bigger body, like it seems very dangerous. It seems wrong to do that to me. And again, like I showed you this because the sentiment of it upset me, but I just think like generally there's so much bad help out there. You know what I mean? Like everybody's looking for mentorship and role models, people to work with to improve themselves, and the people like really shouldn't be doing it. Like they really have no business coaching anyone. They really have no business. I mean, how can you, I just don't see how you can sensibly sit across from a fat person and work with them. And when I say fat, I mean fat, okay? Like, I don't mean within a normal body range and you have some fat on your body. I'm talking about people who are really fat here. You know, I don't know how you can sit with someone and work with them and not in your work pattern, you know, and not in your game plan, you know, around their eating too, especially if you're working with them on health. Why wouldn't that be something that you would have in mind and something in the forefront of your mind as a goal to assist them with? It seems to me like very weird that we've just become so sensitive about it in this culture. Like it's become so taboo to talk about this. And again, like I've said, there is, you know, people can be very unkind, you know, in their treatment of people who are very clearly struggling. You know, I'll say that very clearly. If somebody is that big, you know, you kind of just have to know that they're struggling. Every day is a struggle. Every day. When you are massive, it's going to be, because you're just exerting so much more energy and force just to go about doing things. So anyway, I'm getting off topic there a little bit, but it's not just this. It's not just like the fat liberation thing. And thank you for responding. Play it so fast. Good evening. Yeah, there's a lot of people out here with really wild coaching and like courses. I remember years ago somebody asking me if I was going to do a course, and I'm like, what on earth would I do a course about? Like, I'm sure I could come up with something if I really wanted to, but to me it just seemed like ridiculous. It seemed like the most ridiculous idea. I'm like, I'm still figuring out my life, you know, I'm still, you know, I don't know what I have that I do know things. I do have an education, let's just say, about many different things. Obviously, I can teach people things, but a lot of the things I feel like people need to learn for themselves. That's another part of it. So I've always been kind of like, courses, that kind of thing. And sometimes it's worthwhile, though. I do know some people who have come up with very quality, quality educational, transformative kind of work that they offer with people. And obviously, like, I used to sell on here, like, um, different services, through my channel and through my different pages. So I understand like the power of working with people one on one, but I do wonder about like these mass produced course products that you go to their website and you download, and like you never really know going in what's good and what isn't, who's true and who isn't, who you should listen to and who you shouldn't. I don't want to say that you don't know always, but there's a lot of just stuff out here that's really not going to be what you need. And we're also catered to now specifically about our individual tastes and that kind of thing, that it can be really, we're almost coddled by it, aren't we? Because we just think, okay, I don't like what this person has to say about this, so I'll go off with this one, or, just being very selective about who we get taught by. And I think maybe that there's something lost in that a little bit. Like, not always. I do have a mentor that I work with, that I found online, and she's amazing, amazing, and gives like um, very quality help, with the stuff she does. But I mean, it's just, you have to like sift through so much. And how do you decide that you want to work with someone, And, I got lucky that I found this particular person when I did, but like for years, there's like this guru over here, this guru over there, and, this person. And yeah, there's all these people just selling all these different things, and I worry, if how much of it is like indoctrination, how much of it is, really even helpful, because it just is wild to me. Like, this person who's a dietitian who people come to for like binge eating disorder, which, hello, a lot of people who are obese have. Hello. And she's denying that weight loss can happen. I'm like, if weight loss doesn't happen, if you're super big, it's not looking good. Things are not looking good. It's upsetting. I've talked about it quite a few times on this channel. When I come across it, I'm just blown away. And I'm blown away that like people who are professionals, she looked pretty professional to me. Very professional page. People that are professionals and that are, supposed to be working with these folks. Yeah, they're buying into like some of the really negative false beliefs that are out there. Well, anyway, I don't know. I think I went over this subject enough. Did I want to say anything else about like just the internet, social media, and all the different coaches and influencers that are going off and providing this, that, and the other? And it seems like you turn around and somebody's selling something. I don't know. And again, you just wonder, what does this person, what business does this person have? Like, what qualifies them to do this? And the real thing is, a lot of the times it's nothing. And I used to say this back in the day. If somebody gets ripped off, if you give your money to someone foolishly who does not return it, or does pull some kind of scam, you have to take some responsibility for that. I know there are scams that can be very, they can deceive people a lot of the time. Many people are targeted. I've seen that happen. But again, some part of you eventually has to, have some kind of awareness and common sense about these things, and use discernment when you're looking at these shiny things that are dazzled in front of you, that are going to offer you, like, a whole new life or whatever. Or, it's usually around, though, like health or your money, or your love life, what have you. Like, there's all of these different, I've noticed that too. Like, I've noticed people who are single, like, selling relationship courses and stuff like that. And you're like, now, I will say, you can be single and know how to have good relationships with people. But I mean, they're specifically talking about romantic relationships. And it's like, unless you're married, you don't really have any business putting that kind of content out there. I mean, what can you really say? And that, there's a lot of that. And it's, male and female too. Like, it's just another place where you're like, okay, why is this single man advising anyone about how to go about dating or having relationships? He has not been successful in securing an ongoing monogamous relationship with commitment. So, but people flock to it and they'll listen to it. It's just like, well, where you have to discern, though. You have to use your judgment. I don't know, but this one set me off. This lady, this one, I don't know. Dietitian selling this stagnancy as well. That's the thing about it too, with like the whole weight loss. It's, like I said, I've said before, it's not easy, but it can be done. And once you figure it out, like, and you lose it and you maintain it for some time, I'm telling you, like, your mindset shifts. And this is, a lot of what I think upsets people about, when someone loses weight. Someone public anyway, someone, especially if they were involved in anything to do with like fat community in any sense. And I don't know how to even put that, because like when I was fat, and I will say that I was fat when I tried to avoid that as much as possible, like having it be like my community and identity. There were things, I would support businesses, obviously, that there was this shop in town that's still there actually, but they're all, how do I put this? They're very aligned with modern queer politics. And if you don't know what that means, it means that they're not a business I can really support. They're very, even though they have like this cool theme and mission, and it's kind of like a DIY thing that they had running. It was like this It started actually as this event that would happen years ago. I went to when I was in my youth. I heard about these events that they were having, which was just like a pop-up shop in someone's garage in North Portland where they were selling plus size clothing, and if you've ever been plus size, it's difficult to find clothing sometimes that's cute, that's your style. It has gotten much better in the past few years. Tremendously. Like when I think about what's available now versus when I was, young, it's astounding. So anyway, this shop eventually morphed into like a brick and mortar, and they used to have a space downtown and now they've moved to another part of town. But anyway, long story short, I would support businesses like that, but I never really, even though I believe some of this stuff, like I totally believed that myth that, weight loss was just, most people would gain it back and gain back more. Like there was a time when I believed that. And I'd had my weight fluctuate a few times, in my life. When I was, young, I had a period where I lost some weight very quickly and, was thin. I gained it back within a couple of years though, and then some. So I think that kind of experience maybe kind of led to me believing that myth a bit because of my just personal experiencing with yo-yoing like that. But the reality is I never fixed my relationship with food in that time. And when I did put on the weight, like I was really in denial about it. And there were other like health issues I was going through as well at the time, which kind of made it all confusing. So anyway, eventually when I did set about finally losing weight for real, I had to drop that belief. That belief had to go. And it did. And, really in that time, what I learned was you just have to have rules. You just have to have rules about food. And there's this very strange belief that people have, and especially with like, again, the intuitive eating, they would encourage one to honor whatever craving you have. But like there comes a point in your life where you have to recognize that the cravings don't need to be satisfied all the time. And just because you have a craving for something does not mean that it's something that's good for you, that you need to put in your body. So anyway, I found that through having rules and having discipline about it and just keeping those rules. I mean, that's really all it was. It was like I made a decision. I'm keeping this rule. That's it. My mind took over. I set my will in place and I did not deviate. And that's what it has to be. You have to have that kind of determination. And it helps, if you remove distraction from your life, because there's so many ways that in those times you can get tempted. And I think this could apply to anything in life. A weight loss is just one achievement. And let me tell you, like, don't downplay it. It's a big achievement because there's so much messaging in our culture right now that is trying to keep people from even pursuing that. Thankfully, there's backlash, though, because I think a lot of people are recognizing that we have a problem in our country with health. And not only, I mean, there's so many factors that go into that. I don't want to dive in that completely, but like the fact is a lot of people are obese in this country, and it's not good. It's going to be causing a lot of problems for them and for all of us. So we need to kind of push back against it a bit, obviously with love. Hopefully I've done that today. I don't know. I feel kind of bad because I did pull up this woman's account and just kind of looked at it and judged it pretty harshly. But it's just that one post. Just the one post. I didn't want to scroll through everything. And I did judge the fact that she's thin and giving out bad messaging about weight loss. I just wonder if she's ever had like a significant weight loss. You know, has she ever been obese? Does she realize? No, of course, because nobody who's been obese and maintained it would ever post something so ridiculous. I don't know why I'm having this kind of thought to myself, like, oh, she might be no, she's ruthless. She's a thin woman taking advantage of fat people's feelings. She's like being all touchy-feely instead of giving people what they need. Ugh. how can I go back against myself there? I mean, yeah, nobody who has gone through that experience of being fat, losing weight, and maintaining it would ever post that, because they know how much better their lives are. And they know that it isn't true. 85 to 9, wait, no, what was it? 80 to 95% of diets fail, or not. It wasn't even called diets. It was weight loss attempts. And I'm like, okay, well, how sincere were these attempts? Because I made attempts before in the past that were less sincere than others, I have to say. And I made less attempts than I should have as well, because I was in denial and I was, believing these kind of false beliefs, because of hearing a message like that. Ugh, how much time wasted? How much time wasted being, sicker than I needed to be, putting more strain on my body than I needed to, not respecting my body as well. I think that's a part of it as well that we need to kind of get into. These vessels we're given are so fragile, they are fragile, and they require care. And they need to be treated delicately. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, be athletic or use your body physically. Of course you should. But we also, like, what I mean by that is to not ever push ourselves beyond healthy limits. There are limits, and we have to have them in everything. Obviously, eating is one of them. And if we don't have limits around eating, then we will suffer. And it's the same with, so many other parts of life as well. Like, you don't want to overdo anything, because it's going to, take a toll on you physically. And, having respect for yourself and your body, you can't disrespect yourself by abusing it. So yeah, I don't know. Just, again, these people, they're so dodgy. Like, I want to give people the benefit of the doubt. Like, but I just wonder, do they even know what they're doing? Or are they deceived? I mean, again, a lot of people are deceived. they are deceived, and the blind lead the blind, and things are as they always have been, a mess. Well, anyway, I don't think I have anything else to go over with this. Just be careful what courses you sign up for, and be mindful of the politics, I guess, of people. There are these subtle ways that people express their politics. I said even on the opening here, like upon opening this particular account up, you see the pronouns are there. That's a communication about a politic. They're making a statement there, and then you go through like what they're offering. It's like, well, what is this person's agenda really? And like, is it in alignment with my values? Is it in alignment with the truth? Or is it a bit wrong? Is it maybe, not something that you need? Anyway, I'm gonna go. Thank you for watching here, and I will see you another time. Bye.